and there are 2 Superbike races at each of the rounds. That moves Whittam on then to a handsome lead from Hislop, McElnay, Stringer and Jim Moody joint 4th. Brian Morrison not competing today, he's away on endurance racing duty in Sweden, so he won't improve on 26th. Everything then for Carl Fogarty to go for as riders shape up and form up. The one omission from the front line is number 4, Terry Reimer, who fell in leg 1 and will not be contesting the rest of the day's proceedings. Reimer uninjured, but the bike's a bit second-hand, and his spare bike, in his own words, is feeling very tired. So that leaves us then 3 men on the front row. Hislop, McElnay, pole position man Carl Fogarty, looking to repeat his first leg win, and he's away down to Redgate. Number 44, Fogarty, throwing the bike from the right-hand side to the left, peeling off into the 90-mile-an-hour Redgate turn in 3rd gear. Fogarty then going well. Right with him went number 2, Rob McElnay. Number 11, Steve Hislop on the RVF 750 Honda was up there as well. As a somewhat depleted field, and I say depleted because no less than 11 people retired from the first encounter. A depleted field starts leg 2. There certainly aren't 35 competitors out there. Fogarty then not having it all his own way on the first lap, but we saw something like this in the first race. Fogarty was under enormous pressure early on from Rob McElnay, and also his teammate Jamie Whittam, number 6 on the left of your picture now. Hislop is there too, but through into 2nd place goes Jamie Whittam. Hislop is in 4th. Now, much closer company this time, but the Ducati phenomenally quick, picking up the front wheel in top gear, and that was 150 miles an hour at that point. Down to 2nd gear for the S's. The exhaust note of the Ducati, Rorty going through. Robert Dunlop there, number 3. But away they go, down towards the Melbourne hairpin, and it's Fogarty leading, but only just from number 6, Jamie Whittam.
I spoke to Fogarty after the first leg, and he says that in these early laps he has to take it quite easy. I mean, comparatively speaking, he's actually leading the race, but he's taking it easy by comparison because his Michelin tyres take quite a long time to get heat into them, and therefore he's got to ride in a defensive way, protecting his line, whereas James Whittam and Rob McElnay can really go for it right from the word go. And you see Whittam, he's come through from 4th place to shadow Fogarty as they sweep down through Craner curves, and Whittam can really get on the gas straight away on his Dunlop tyres, and so there's a slight difference. Now it remains to be seen how these two will fare towards the end of the race, when really the tyre wear is more pronounced.
Jamie Whittam then, number 6, the 26-year-old from Huddersfield, who has had a stunning start. In fact, we're halfway through the 1993 season now, and Whittam has been virtually unbeatable, but it's all falling apart for him now here at Donington because Carl Fogarty stamped his authority on the first leg. He's doing it again here. It's early days, though. We've a long, long way to go. This is a 15-lapper. Whittam won't want to get a repeat dose of that particular medicine, and he's showing his front wheel at the S's to Carl Fogarty. Through they go. The right-hander. There's Hislop. There's Stringer. Mark Farmer went through as well. There's David Jeffries. There's Robert Dunlop. And through they go. Carl Fogarty, though, race leader in impeccable style again, on his way to 20 points. But I think Jamie Whittam has got other ideas about that. Rob McElnay, teammate to Whittam, number 2, lurking in 3rd place. Then it's Steve Hislop on the RVF 750 Honda. The 30-year-old Scot from Hoyk. Hislop, 9 TT wins, is equally at home on the short circuit as he is on the true roads in the Isle of Man. Fogarty also won the Northwest 200 in recent weeks. He really is on the crest of the wave. The race leader then, 5th in the World Superbike Championship at this moment in time, after a particularly fine double win in Spain in very, very recent weeks. So Fogarty, very much the man in form. If he can pull off another 20-point win here, that will move him into a significant place in the championship, and there are still 4 rounds of this H.E.A.T Super Cup to go, so he will have every chance of lifting the overall title, provided, of course, he contests enough of those remaining 4 rounds. The Norton rider, number 25, Jim Moody, has moved from 7th to 6th, so he's developing a charge early on in the proceedings. And he needs to do that. The Norton is not maybe as quick as the Ducati out in front. You can see Moody there just coming out of Coppice. Now these two, first and second places, this one's building into something, I think, a bit hotter than the first one.
Well, Jamie Whittam is doing his usual stuff on bike number 6 and trying absolutely everything he knows. He extracts every ounce of power out of that Yamaha. He lays it over at incredible angles. Whatever the bike does, he controls. He doesn't mind what it does. It bucks and weaves. He climbs all over it. Fogarty, very much the same. These two riders, probably the two most entertaining riders on the British scene. And that's probably why Fogarty's got his chance, and he's now in the European World Superbike Championship round. As you see, Stringer, Hislop, and there we saw Moody on the Norton, bike number 25 in the background. But Fogarty's really doing the business once again. Hislop, I would have thought, would have had probably one of the best bikes with the Honda for this circuit here at Donington Park. And that looks like a new lap record to Fogarty. Indeed it is, 1:36.27, so Fogarty doing the business. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he hasn't adjusted the suspension from the first leg, because his bike does look to be handling better. We did suggest that it may need some slight looking at, and probably they needed that first race to make improvements.
Well, that is less than 3 seconds, only 3 seconds outside Kevin Schwann's outright lap record here at Donington Park, and that is a phenomenally quick time. And in the background you can see the green helmet of Ray Stringer, who has moved from 5th up to 4th, has gone past Steve Hislop. So Ray Stringer very much on the charge. There's Hislop, and that explains why Stringer is now in 4th place. Steve Hislop walking away perfectly well, climbing over the tyre wall. Very disappointed, I'm sure, because Hislop was sitting well up in the championship, 2nd place on 42 points, would you believe, before that tumble. So Steve Hislop a bit dejected, I think, is an understatement. Race leader, Carl Fogarty, number 44. Jamie Whittam then, number 6, hot in his wheel tracks and very keen to get the Yamaha. Bit of a twitch there, back end let go just marginally to get the Yamaha past the Ducati. Down the straight again they go, up to 4th gear at this moment in time. 5th and peeling off into Redgate, 90 miles an hour, 3rd gear around Redgate. Rob McElnay, number 2, charging after the leading duo.
That's McElnay, Big Rob, the burly Humbersider, doing the business, qualified in 2nd place, which was fabulous. But and this looks like it's Hislop actually going down. You can see that's Ray Stringer in front of him, and Hislop's gone into the corner and he's lost the front end. It looked very much like he lost the front end, which would have meant that he'd lent the bike over too far, and that was Hislop's race over. These are the boys that are setting the British scene alight, and that's Whittam on number 6 and Fogarty on 44. A new lap record yet again by Whittam of 1:36.25, so every lap they lifting the pace, and one wonders where it can end. And really, to get one of these big 4-strokes round Donington Park Grand Prix circuit at 1:36.25 is quite incredible.
Well, number 6, James Whittam, is absolutely riding out of his leathers. I suspect that the Yamaha is just marginally slower in a straight line than the Ducati, and Whittam, as a result, is having to ride it as hard as he possibly can and maybe just push it over the limit. We just hope and pray that that's not the case, but James Whittam is really stretching everything he knows now to get on terms with Fogarty, who looks to be having, and it may not necessarily be the case, but who looks to be having a much easier ride, a less ruffled ride. Whittam is absolutely climbing all over the bike. We're with James Whittam now. Carl Fogarty on the Ducati is ahead of him, threading his way down now towards the old hairpin. Old hairpin out of here, up to the left-hander, round Starkey's, climbing up the hill, and now the right-hander at McLean's. Roger, you know this circuit far better than me.
Yeah, you see then Fogarty took a tighter line. There's a bump coming out the back end of Fogarty's bike, moved then, but Whittam doesn't ease off. These riders have to have so much trust in each other to ride so close. You can see that 120 miles an hour there, and there's literally one bike's length between these two riders. They're very good pals off the track, but there's no love lost on the track. And down now to 2nd gear, right down to 2nd gear, going through the S's there, and the bikes look fairly even, I must say.
Well, with Fogarty then ahead of Whittam, let's just have the pictures tell the story. Into Redgate then, great stuff and superb action from the rider's eye view of Jamie Whittam's Yamaha, but there's nothing he can do about Carl Fogarty. He's climbing off it to keep the bike as upright as possible. Whittam then looking for every opportunity, hoping maybe to hurry Carl Fogarty into an error. I don't think that's going to happen because the Blackburn Ace is very much on form, as I said earlier, and the Ducati going well, incredibly quick. The rules basically of Superbike limit the four-cylinder Japanese variety to 750cc, whilst other makes, and when I say other makes I mean European, can be up to 1000cc twin-cylinder. The Ducati, of course, is an H.E.A.T to the best of my knowledge, and a very, very quick H.E.A.T at that. Fogarty leads then. Jamie Whittam still there in second place, and you can see the gap now between them and the rest of the field. It's 5.61 seconds before Rob McElnay is even in the frame at all. McElnay then leads Stringer, number 17, and Jim Moody on the Norton, number 25, is up to 5th. Just a fraction of a second behind McElnay, so there's a good battle going on for third, fourth and fifth. This is the battle for the lead, and we dare not leave it. Anything can happen. Whittam is there, he's poised. Fogarty doesn't look like making a mistake though, Roger, does he?
Well, it was that particular corner that Carl Fogarty gave it all away in the World Superbike Championship here at Donington Park last year, but he doesn't look like the same rider this year. He looks far better, far more controlled, far more confident, and he's certainly riding very, very well indeed, and this does really stand him in good stead for the World Superbike Championship round. The British leg of that takes place in October here at Donington Park, so Fogarty will be using this, gaining all the experience to set the Ducati up for that, and let's hope that he's in a position at that particular point in the championship when he's looking to take the lead. But there you have it after 7 laps. Fogarty, Whittam, McElnay, Moody, and Moody, that's fantastic, in 4th on the Norton. He's eased the Norton around under 1 minute 37 seconds, which is the fastest it's ever been round here. That includes the likes of Haslam, Nation, Spray, all the great riders that have ridden the Norton. So Moody really is doing a fantastic job on it, and credit due to the Crichton team, who have done good development work with it too.
4th place then for Jim Moody. 2 TT wins last week, and now here in 4th place on the very rapid Norton in ultra quick company, being headed by, I have to say, I think the best 2 men we have on offer in the UK at the moment. Carl Fogarty is a man with a mission. He's got this 5th place in the World Superbike title chase with a stunning double win in Spain. Back marker number 29 coming under the hammer, about to be relegated. That's the Frenchman again, Bonvincini. So Dominique Bonvincini is out of the running. He's a lap behind them, but at least they're safely passed. Fogarty with a shake of the head from the Ducati, protesting just a little bit in a straight line, peeling off again into Redgate. And Jamie Whittam has over the left shoulder of Carl Fogarty, just a glance to see where the opposition is, and the opposition very much in the shape of James Whittam, still there. His shadow all the way from the word go round this Donington Park circuit. The gap then down to 3rd place, you can see for yourselves, a long, long way, so it's very much just about these 2, and they're getting quicker and quicker and quicker.
Both riders are really impressing me with this display of high-speed, consistent lapping of Donington Park, but I think the rider that it's probably been the most difficult for is Fogarty, because he's come here with everything to lose and nothing to gain, and I say that because had he come here and not won the race, people would have criticised him. We're on bike with Whittam, and that's Fogarty in front of him. You're seeing exactly what Jamie Whittam is watching, and he's seeing the Ducati inch ahead as they go down to the Melbourne hairpin. He's going down the gearbox from 4th gear all the way down to 1st gear, right behind Fogarty. And and extracting every ounce of power out of the Yamaha as he accelerates up behind Fogarty. But you see how quickly the Ducati accelerates out of the corner, and that's something that Whittam's got to put up with.
Well, the interesting thing there, Roger, I feel the Ducati would have come out of there in second gear because it's got a bit more punch, but Whittam was down the bottom, as you quite rightly said, on the Yamaha, and you could hear up through 4 shifts into 4th before they got to Goddard. So the Ducati much more torquey. It will be a more flexible bike to ride, and more forgiving pulling out of the turns, whereas the Yamaha has to have its neck wrung the whole time to squeeze every ounce of power out of it. And more gear changes, I would have thought, on the multi than there are on the twin-cylinder Ducati, but going very well. Another tail ender ahead of them still, with Carl Fogarty heading Jamie Whittam. So the man from Blackburn is looking after the man from Huddersfield very, very well indeed, keeping him behind him, keeping him tucked in, out of the way. McElnay still third, Moody, Stringer, and Mark Farmer on another Ducati. Now the number 8 rider, the Crawley-based Ulsterman, as they tuck underneath a tail ender there. If that's the number 38, that's Tim Lee they've just passed. Tim Lee, the tail ender.
Of course, at this particular stage in the race, lap 10 out of 15, Whittam's got to really start to plan exactly how he's going to win this race, if indeed he is. What he's got to try and do, I would suggest, is actually try and slow the pace a little bit, let Fogarty feel that he's got it in the bag, and then try and pounce on Fogarty during the last 2 or 3 laps to see if he can actually catch him by surprise.
We're now getting to the point in the race where they are getting, and that was interesting. Fogarty had his left hand off the handlebar there, fiddling with some adjustment behind the perspex. Quite what that was, I don't know, but he clearly was adjusting something or tampering something. Tampering with any idea what that might have been, Roger? He clearly had his hand off under the perspex.
Yeah, I do know that he can adjust the suspension as he's going round. Some of the suspension units have an adjuster on the handlebar that you can actually alter the damping. Now, he's probably feeling that the damping in the rear suspension unit is actually altered, and as it's got more and more heat into it, he's maybe decided he wants more damp. Oh, and you see then he lost the back end. That was a big slide, so I could be right, and Fogarty could be trying to harden that rear suspension as heat's worked into it and softened it.
Well, if that's the case, that's amazing when you think that under the heat of competition, if you'll pardon the expression, that Carl Fogarty can actually tinker with the mechanics of the bike and adjust it as he's racing, because he could be under no more pressure than he is at the moment. Jamie Whittam is determined not to let him get out of his sights. He's going to keep the pressure on all the way to the checkered flag and maybe force the Blackburn rider into that mistake. That is, of course, if James Whittam doesn't make a mistake of his own, because he's riding very, very aggressively indeed. 44 Fogarty then still leads. 6 James Whittam at Goddard's again. Out of Goddard's, up through the gearbox down the straight. 3rd, 4th, 5th. Down to 4th again for Redgate, 90 miles an hour peeling into here. And the crowd at Redgate being treated, in fact the crowd all the way around the circuit being treated to an exhibition of formation riding. With these two, they really are giving a stunning display. It's not a big crowd, there are a lot of people here at the start-finish straight, but all around the circuit, those spectators who have come here are being treated to a good display of riding and looking like a Carl Fogarty benefit here. 40 points could well be his. 20 he's already taken from leg 1, and he's on target for 20 points, and Whittam will get 17 for second place, therefore protecting his championship lead. Whittam currently sits on 57, Fogarty has a mere 20. So quite a bit of work to do for Carl Fogarty over the rest of the season. James Whittam, meanwhile, needs to keep scoring consistently and ideally winning.
Here we are back on bike with James Whittam. You can see the gap, and that's the gap that James Whittam will be trying all that he knows to try and catch up. The Ducati does disappear out of these slower corners as Whittam goes down the gearbox. You see the rev counter in the right-hand corner of the screen. You watch the revs build up. Now the revs are building up and screeching up to 14,000, going through the gears, and every time that needle flicks, it's a gear change, and Whittam's now come down the gearbox, back to second gear. He's rounding Goddard's back onto the start and finish straight. Up goes the rev counter, 14. Back, every time it flicks backwards, there's a gear change there. And then back to Redgate, braking as hard as he possibly can, and taking this corner at about 100 miles an hour. And just, Fogarty just looks to be inching away to me.
I think it's opportune to mention that some of the top riders, and I'm not sure how many of the top riders, but some of them are certainly using an electronic gear shift, which enables them to change gear without closing the throttle and without pulling in the clutch. They literally just tread the gear lever, which momentarily kills the power and allows the power just off for a moment so the gear can slip through. And that's been developed and pioneered to a certain extent by Ray Stringer at the tail end of last season. It's been perfected and is now being marketed to great effect, and the leading riders are finding that it can save up to a second a lap, which is an astonishing improvement over any performance. So whilst the technology marches on, it appears that the riding ability is improving equally. These riders certainly having a superb day here.
And Fogarty has stretched a slight advantage on the previous lap to this, lap 13. On lap 12 he did a 1:36.05, which again ups the lap record. I think every lap of this race has been inside the lap record before the proceedings started today, and that's credit due to the riders involved. But this man, Carl Fogarty, I do believe, I'll not say what I was going to say, but I do believe could be a top 3 runner in 500 Grand Prix racing. He really is that good, and both he and Whittam have really matured over the last 12 months.
Well, Fogarty will have the chance to show us what he's made of at the Grand Prix on August the 1st, because he has been nominated as the 3rd Cagiva rider and a wild card British entry. Now this is Fogarty coming out of Goddard's. The temptation to put the power on was there, and he lost the back end momentarily, but lightning quick reflexes, got the throttle closed, the bike in a straight line, the power back on, and Carl Fogarty is back in business. That could so easily have ended in a very upset Carl Fogarty and a jubilant Jamie Whittam. That's exactly the sort of thing that Jamie Whittam would have been pushing for, not necessarily to bring the other rider off, but certainly to outwit him one way or another. They are now on the penultimate lap then. Carl Fogarty still leading. I was about to say, in fact I did begin to say, that he is riding a factory Cagiva in the Grand Prix and is one of the British nominated 500cc wild card entries. It'll be interesting to see just what Carl Fogarty can do, and if indeed Roger Burnett's prophecy could come true.
Here we are back with James Whittam on bike, and we were a few laps back with him, and now Fogarty looks that much further away. And if I were James Whittam starting this last lap as they are doing now, and you see Fogarty in the distance, it's some 1.5 seconds, believe it. In fact, it's 2.5 seconds looking at the monitor. It looks an almighty mountain to climb, and if I were James Whittam, I think I would be settling for second spot, because only a miracle is actually going to allow him to catch Fogarty back up.
Halfway round then, down at the old hairpin. We're at Starkey's now with Carl Fogarty. This, I have to say, is almost his victory lap, because he is on his way now to a stunning double here at Donington in the H.E.A.T Supercup. Round 2, remember, there are 2 750cc races for each of the 6 rounds. 4 rounds to go. And he is now among the traffic, but it's looking now like a formality. The 2 riders about to be relegated, number 18, Nigel Nottingham, and number 45. 45 is Ward. It's academic because they've been lapped well and truly now by the race leader Carl Fogarty, who is on his way, nodding his head, and he's jubilant. Just look at him, he can hardly conceal his excitement. At Goddard's then, the left-hander for the last time, ever so gently round here, Carl. The race isn't won till you're over the line, but he's over the line now with a massive wheelie from the Ducati. 40 points, Carl Fogarty thrilled to pieces with that one. A great result. Jamie Whittam, discretion being the better part of valour, settled for second place. But Carl Fogarty, no doubt about it at all, a convincing winner twice here at Donington. The sun has certainly shone on Carl Fogarty. A double win here at Donington Park. From Jamie Whittam, McElnay, Stringer, Mark Farmer and Matt Llewellyn from Glenfield. He came in 6th. A good result for Fogarty, a good day's work. With 2 rounds, 4 races gone, the title standings are thus. Whittam from McElnay, teammates then Yamaha 1-2. Steve Hislop, he fell today. Stringer, Fogarty's on the leaderboard, and Matt